In this captivating video, we delve into philosophical and scientific perspectives on life after death. From ancient beliefs to modern theories, we cover it all. Our channel, MTA Channel, is known for its insightful content that educates and inspires, and this video is no exception. We aim to empower you with knowledge and keep you curious about the world beyond. Ever wondered what truly happens when we die? Milky Way dive into the unknown with our latest video, where we explore the mysteries of the afterlife and offer you a chance to win the mysterious book that explains what happens when we die. Explore the mysteries of life after death with this insightful guide on near-death experiences and what happens when we die. That a mysterious book has been getting a lot of attention. It offers deep insights into life after death and near-death experiences. This book explores the unknown, giving us a glimpse of what might be after we die. This book is special because it brings comfort and understanding. It helps those who have lost loved ones or are curious about life after death. By looking into the mysteries of death, it helps us understand our own experiences. Key takeaways: insights into the mysterious aspects of death, understanding of near-death experiences, exploration of life after death, a unique perspective on mortality, comfort for those who have lost loved ones. The universal mystery of death. Humans have always tried to grasp the meaning of death. It's a part of life we all face, yet it's full of mystery. This mystery has led to many beliefs and theories about what happens after we die. How different cultures interpret the afterlife. Culture has its own take on the afterlife. For example, indigenous cultures see a spirit world alongside our own. On the other hand, Buddhism believes in reincarnation, where the soul keeps coming back until it reaches enlightenment. Here's a look at some of the many afterlife beliefs. Culture/religion. Afterlife belief. Indigenous culture, spirit world coexisting with the physical realm. Buddhism, reincarnation until enlightenment. Christianity, heaven or hell based on deeds. Why? Understanding death matters for living well. Getting to know death and the afterlife can change how we live. Accepting death helps us cherish the moment we're in. It makes us live more fully, focusing on what's truly important. Discovering the Book of Transitions. The Book of Transitions offers a deep dive into history and the mysteries of what comes after. For centuries, it has captivated people, giving a unique look at life's end, how to trace its origins and history. Exploring the Book of Transitions means looking into its past and the cultures that shaped it. Scholars find its roots in ancient times, where afterlife beliefs were part of everyday life. The book's history is rich and complex. Over time, it has been translated and interpreted in many ways. This shows how our views on death and the afterlife have evolved. What makes this book different from other afterlife texts? The Book of Transitions is unique among afterlife texts. It provides a full guide to the afterlife journey. Unlike others, it maps out the entire transition process. Feature the Book of Transitions. Other afterlife texts. Comprehensive guide. Yes, no. Historical influence. Multiple ancient cultures. Varies transition process. Detailed description. Often fragmented. The Book of Transitions is special because it tells a complete story of the afterlife. It's a key resource for those wanting to grasp this deep mystery. What happens when we die? Near-death experiences and books about life after death. Near-death experiences offer a glimpse into death and the afterlife. They spark both scientific and spiritual curiosity. These experiences are filled with peace, joy, and a sense of leaving the body behind. They happen across cultures and ages, showing a universal aspect of human consciousness. How to identify common elements in NDES. Studies on near-death experiences have found common themes. These include out-of-body experiences, OBEs, tunnel vision, and meeting deceased loved ones or spiritual beings. These elements show a common thread of going beyond the physical and changing in some way. Understanding these common elements helps us see the bigger picture of NDEs. For example, the joy and peace felt during NDEs show that dying might not be as scary as we think. Steps to evaluate. Scientific research on near-death experiences. Looking into scientific research on NDEs requires a detailed approach. It's important to consider both medical and spiritual views. To really get what the research says, we need to know how it was done and what it concludes. Understanding medical explanations. Medical views on NDEs focus on how the brain reacts to trauma or dying. Studies suggest NDEs might come from neurochemical reactions or altered states of consciousness caused by stress. Knowing this helps us understand the physical side of NDEs. Exploring spiritual interpretations. On the other hand, spiritual views see NDEs as proof of an afterlife or continued consciousness. These views are based on religious or spiritual beliefs. They show how our physical and spiritual sides are connected. By looking at both medical and spiritual views, we can better understand NDEs. This helps us see their importance for our views on death and what comes after. The 5 stages of transition. According to the Book of Transitions helps us understand the 5 stages of transition. It offers a roadmap for the soul's journey. This ancient text helps us prepare for death with awareness and peace. Recognizing stage 1, separation. First stage, separation, is when we start to let go of the physical world. We feel a growing disconnection from our bodies and earthly things. It's a subtle yet profound shift in our perspective. Navigating stage 2, awareness. Our consciousness expands. We become more aware of our surroundings, thoughts, and feelings. It's a time of heightened sensitivity and perception. Processing stage 3, life. The life review stage is critical. It's when we reflect on our life's actions and decisions. We learn from past experiences and understand our impact on others. This stage is key for personal growth and closure. Understanding stage 4, transition. Transition is when we fully let go of our earthly existence. It's a time of significant transformation. We prepare to move into the afterlife, embracing the unknown. Accepting stage 5, integration. The final stage, integration, is when our soul merges with the afterlife. It's a stage of acceptance and completion. We find peace and unity, embracing the continuity of existence beyond the physical. Stage description. Key elements: separation, detachment from the physical world, disconnection, letting go, awareness, expansion of consciousness, heightened sensitivity, deeper perception, life review, reflection on past life, personal growth, closure, transition, letting go of earthly existence, transformation, release, integration, merging with the afterlife, peace, unity, continuity. By understanding and embracing these 5 stages, we can approach death with peace and preparedness. We know the journey is guided and purposeful. How to overcome personal death anxiety. Personal death anxiety can be really tough, but identifying and transforming fear patterns can help you accept it. It's key to understand and tackle the root of your fear. Steps to identify your fear patterns to beat death anxiety. First, figure out what scares you. Think about your life experiences and beliefs. Ask yourself, what do I fear about death? Is it the unknown, losing loved ones, or something else? Look back at your past and how it shapes your fears today. Think about how culture or religion affects your view of death. Spot any negative thoughts that make you anxious. Practical exercises to transform fear into acceptance. After spotting your fears, start changing them. Practical exercises like meditation and journaling can help. They let you deal with your fears and find acceptance. Try mindfulness meditation to calm your mind and lower anxiety. Write down your death fears and thoughts to process them. Do things that make you feel purposeful and happy. By taking these steps and doing these exercises, you can start to overcome personal death anxiety. You'll move towards a more accepting mindset. Understanding the science behind life after death. Theories. The study of science and the afterlife is very interesting. Theories like quantum consciousness and biocentrism are getting more attention. They try to explain how consciousness works and if it can exist after we die. Modern physics is helping us understand life after death. Quantum consciousness says consciousness is not just in our brains. It's a basic part of the universe, like space and time. How to make sense of quantum consciousness theories. To get quantum consciousness, you need to know quantum mechanics. It shows reality is different from what we see every day. It talks about things like entanglement and superposition. These ideas make some scientists think consciousness might be quantum. This could mean it could keep going even after our bodies stop working. Steps to grasp biocentrism and consciousness persistence. Biocentrism is another idea that's getting a lot of attention. It says consciousness is the real thing, and everything else comes from it. To understand biocentrism, you need to see how important consciousness is. The idea of consciousness persistence is connected. It suggests that consciousness keeps going after we die. To get this, you have to think about what consciousness is and how it relates to the world. Looking into these theories helps us understand the science behind life after death. It gives us clues about consciousness and if it can keep going. How to prepare for the great transition. Death is something we all face, but we can face it with acceptance. Understanding and embracing death can bring peace to us and our loved ones. It's about seeing death as a natural part of life, not something to fear. Daily practices for death acceptance. There are ways to accept death every day. Meditation and mindfulness help us stay present and aware of our mortality. These practices can make us more accepting of death. Mindfulness practices. Meditation on mortality. Journaling about fears and hopes. Engaging in activities that promote a sense of connection and legacy. The most beautiful people we have known are those who have known defeat, known suffering, known struggle, known loss, and have found their way out of the depths of these things to a higher place. Step-by-step guide to creating a spiritual will. A spiritual will is more than just a legal document. It's about sharing your deepest wishes and values about death and your legacy. It's a way to express how you want to be remembered. Steps to create a spiritual will. Reflect on your values and beliefs about death and the afterlife. Write down your wishes regarding funeral rites and memorial services. Consider how you want to be remembered and the legacy you wish to leave. Share your spiritual will with your loved ones to ensure they understand your intentions. Aspect practical steps, spiritual considerations, funeral wishes, specify burial or cremation preferences, consider rituals or ceremonies that align with your beliefs, legacy, outline how you want to be remembered, reflect on the values you want to pass on. By following these steps and practices, we can face death with peace and purpose. It's a way to live fully and accept death as a natural part of life. Learning from those who return, people who have come back from near-death experiences share deep insights. These insights change how we see life and death. They often talk about a world that makes them question what exists and what doesn't. How to apply transformative insights from NDE survivors. NDE survivors often talk about feeling peace, joy, and being near a higher power. To use their insights, start by seeing death as a natural part of life, not something to fear. Us practicing mindfulness and meditation helps understand our own death and how we're all connected. This way, we can face death without fear or worry. Steps to incorporate their wisdom into your life. To use the wisdom of NDE survivors in your life, follow these steps. Think about the common themes they mention, like love, compassion, and forgiveness. Cultivate gratitude for the now and the chances it offers. Do things that connect you to others and a higher power, like praying or helping out in your community. By following these steps, you can deepen your understanding of life's purpose. This leads to a more meaningful and caring life. How to compare religious teachings with the book's insights. Looking at the Book of Transitions alongside different religions, we find common and unique views on death and the afterlife. This comparison helps us understand the afterlife better. It also helps us grow personally. The Book of Transitions is a detailed guide on dying and the afterlife. It uses ideas that many religions share. To get the most from it, comparing it with major world religions is helpful. Analyzing Buddhism's Bardo states. Buddhism's Bardo states, found in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, are similar to the Book of Transitions. Both talk about a time between death and rebirth. This time, the soul goes through experiences based on its past actions. Both emphasize the mind state during this time. In Buddhism, your mind at death decides your next life. The Book of Transitions also stresses the importance of being aware and intentional during this time. Examining Christianity's afterlife concepts. Christianity talks about heaven, hell, and purgatory, which is different from the Book of Transitions. Christianity focuses on faith and God's judgment. The Book of Transitions looks at a universal process based on a person's life and consciousness. Even though they differ, both believe in an afterlife. The Book of Transitions and Christianity agree that the afterlife is shaped by a person's life and beliefs. Exploring indigenous death transition practices. Indigenous cultures worldwide have deep traditions about death and the afterlife. They often connect with nature and the spirit world. The Book of Transitions shares this respect for life and death. Many indigenous cultures believe in an afterlife journey to the spirit world. Ancestors are important there. The Book of Transitions talks about joining a universal consciousness, showing respect for life's continuity. In conclusion, comparing the Book of Transitions with religious teachings on the afterlife shows both similarities and differences. This comparison enriches our understanding of the afterlife. It also encourages us to be more open and kind towards death and dying. Applying the book's wisdom to daily life. The Book of Transitions teaches us to find purpose and presence in our daily lives. It's not just about the afterlife. It guides us to live more aware and meaningful lives. First, we need to understand how to use its wisdom in our daily lives. It teaches us to live with intention and be fully present. Steps to live with greater purpose and awareness. To live with purpose, we must first know our core values and passions. We need to think about what truly matters to us. Then, we align our daily actions with these values. Start each day with a mindfulness practice to center yourself. Set clear intentions for what you wish to achieve. Engage in activities that foster a sense of connection and community. How to practice presence in everyday moments. Practicing presence means being fully in the moment, without judgment. Simple practices like mindful breathing and observing your surroundings help. By adding these practices to your daily routine, you can increase your awareness. This leads to a more authentic and purposeful life. How to discuss death with loved ones. Talking about death can bring us closer to those we care about. It helps us understand each other better. Discussing death is a key step in opening up about our mortality. To begin, we need a safe and comfortable space. This is where everyone can share their thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment. Techniques for breaking the death taboo. Sharing personal stories about loss and grief is a great way to start. It makes others feel more at ease to talk about their experiences too. Start with a personal story or experience. Ask open-ended questions to encourage discussion. Listen actively and empathetically to others. Steps to share insights without creating fear. When we share insights about death, we must do it in a way that doesn't scare others. Focus on the positive sides, like preparing for the end of life or deepening our understanding of life itself. Tips for discussing death benefits: be honest and open, builds trust and understanding, use personal experiences, creates a relatable and engaging conversation, listen actively, fosters a supportive and caring environment, addressing criticism and skepticism. When we talk about the Book of Transitions, we face skepticism and criticism. It's key to tackle the worries from both science and religion. Responding to scientific objections: scientists might doubt the book's ideas on the afterlife and near-death experiences, NDEs. They say these experiences could be due to brain or mind tricks. We need to look at research on NDEs and consciousness that backs the book's views. Research on NDEs shows common themes like peace, joy, and meeting loved ones who have passed away. These findings help us understand what happens when we're close to death. Navigating religious concerns: religious groups might worry about the Book of Transitions if it challenges their beliefs. We should listen to their concerns with kindness and respect. Each faith has its own views on what happens after we die. Religious tradition view on afterlife: comparison with the Book of Transitions. Buddhism, rebirth and karma, shares concepts of transition and spiritual evolution. Christianity, heaven, hell, and judgment differs in specifics but shares themes of accountability and afterlife. Indigenous beliefs varied, often involving ancestor reverence, similar in acknowledging a spiritual realm and the significance of ancestors. By talking to both science and religion, we can better understand the Book of Transitions. It helps us see death and the afterlife in a new light. Using the book as a grief support tool: the Book of Transitions is a kind guide for those dealing with grief. Grief touches everyone, but it can make us feel alone. This part looks at how the book helps those mourning. Healing exercises for the bereaved: the book has exercises to help people deal with their grief. It includes journaling, meditation, and rituals to remember the lost ones. For instance, writing letters to the deceased can help release deep feelings. A study showed that writing about grief can lessen its symptoms. Niemeyer, 2010. This backs up the healing exercises in the Book of Transitions. Grief is the price we pay for love. Queen Elizabeth II steps to find comfort in new perspectives on death. The Book of Transitions gives new views on death and what comes after, offering comfort to the grieving. Seeing death as a transition, not an end, brings peace. It lets people feel connected to their loved ones even after they're gone. Perspective: comforting insight. Death as transition: seeing death as a natural step in life, not a break, can comfort. Continued connection: the thought that the bond with the deceased stays can comfort and lessen loss. How to evaluate modern research supporting the book's claims. To understand the Book of Transitions, we need to look closely at recent studies on consciousness and global afterlife traditions. We must compare modern research with ancient wisdom to evaluate the book's claims. Assessing recent consciousness studies requires a few important steps. First, find reliable sources and peer-reviewed journals that focus on consciousness research. For example, studies on near-death experiences, NDEs, offer insights into consciousness after death. Steps to assess recent consciousness studies: identify credible research institutions and journals. Analyze studies on NDEs and their implications. Consider the methodologies used in consciousness research. Cross-cultural afterlife evidence is also key. Different cultures have their own beliefs and stories about the afterlife. We can look for common themes and differences in these stories. Methods for analyzing cross-cultural afterlife evidence: to effectively analyze cross-cultural afterlife evidence, we should examine various cultural and religious texts. Compare and contrast different afterlife narratives. Identify universal themes and motifs. By combining insights from modern consciousness studies and cross-cultural afterlife evidence, we can better understand the Book of Transitions. This approach helps us evaluate the book's claims more deeply. It lets us appreciate its insights into the transition process. Conclusion: embracing the mystery while finding peace. Exploring the Book of Transitions helps us understand what happens when we die. We look at near-death experiences and the science of life after death. This way, we can start to grasp the mystery of death. This journey lets us find peace by facing the unknown. We do this with an open heart and mind. It's not about avoiding the mystery, but embracing it. Accepting death as a natural part of life is key. The Book of Transitions shows us that death is a new beginning. By using its wisdom, we can live with purpose and awareness. This helps us find peace, even when things are uncertain. In the end, we see that death's mystery is not something to fear. It's something we can understand and respect. This understanding helps us appreciate life more and find deeper peace. We learn to embrace the mystery that awaits us. FAQ: what is the Book of Transitions about? The Book of Transitions explores what happens when we die. It gives insights into the afterlife and the transition from life to death. How do different cultures view the afterlife? Cultures have different beliefs about death and the afterlife. Some believe in reincarnation, while others think there is an afterlife realm. These ideas are discussed in the Book of Transitions. What are near-death experiences, NDEs, and how are they related to the Book of Transitions? Near-death experiences are deep events where people feel like they're dying and then come back to life. They often gain new insights. The Book of Transitions talks about NDEs and their role in understanding the afterlife. What are the 5 stages of transition according to the Book of Transitions? The 5 stages are separation, awareness, life review, transition, and integration. These stages are outlined in the book to help understand dying and the afterlife. How can the Book of Transitions help with personal death anxiety? The book helps by showing how to face death anxiety. It teaches readers to change fear into acceptance. This leads to a more peaceful view of death. What scientific theories are discussed in relation to life after death? The book looks at theories like quantum consciousness and biocentrism. These ideas relate to whether consciousness can continue after death. How can I prepare for death according to the Book of Transitions? The book suggests daily practices to accept death. It also guides readers in creating a spiritual will. This helps prepare for the transition. Can the Book of Transitions be used to support those grieving? Yes, it offers healing exercises and new views on death. These can help those grieving find comfort. How does the Book of Transitions compare to religious teachings on the afterlife? The book compares its insights with religious teachings. This includes Buddhism's Bardo states, Christianity's afterlife ideas, and indigenous death practices. It highlights both similarities and differences. What are some practical ways to apply the wisdom from the Book of Transitions to daily life? The book's wisdom can be applied by living with purpose and awareness. It encourages being present in everyday moments. It also helps understand life and death better. How can I discuss death with loved ones using insights from the Book of Transitions? The book offers ways to talk about death without fear. It provides steps to share insights and break the death taboo. This makes discussions about death more open and supportive. How can I evaluate the research supporting the Book of Transitions claims? The book suggests looking at recent studies on consciousness. It also encourages analyzing afterlife evidence from different cultures. This promotes a deeper understanding of its claims. What are some common elements found in near-death experiences? Common elements include feelings of peace and joy. People often feel out of their physical body. They may also meet deceased loved ones or spiritual beings. How can I create a spiritual will as suggested by the Book of Transitions? To create a spiritual will, reflect on your values and beliefs. Think about your wishes for the end of life. Then, write them down in a document to guide your loved ones. Join the conversation in the comments below and share your thoughts on what happens after we die. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest content. Who knows, you might be the lucky winner of the mysterious book. Thanks for watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe for more video.